All right, ready. Have a few minutes here before I got to continue with my day, and I wanted to make a quick video on my Baretta 92FS that I just put a red dot on, and this is the Venom Vortex Venom. I have one on my Glock 17 as well. Really like it for the price. I really can't beat it. I put a Picatinny rail on. Now, there are a couple options for the Baretta. You can buy a whole new slide that was milled to have the rail on it, or a mounting system for an optic, which is pretty expensive. Or you can buy the Picatinny rail, and then you can go really cheap and buy a bracket that basically just does like a lot of the brackets. Actually, the one on my 17, you basically take the rear sight out. You put a little piece of metal, has drilled in tapped holes, and then your bracket comes down, screws go into that little piece of metal, but it's dovetailed on the Glock slide, so it actually holds really firm. Well, as you know, the Baretta slide is much more narrow on the top, and you run into the issue with the decocker. This model has a decocker on it, so basically there's a little piece of metal that actually juts out of the top of the slide as you decock. So this Picatinny rail, which is made out of aluminum, has a cutout for that, and it's worked awesome. I've had no issues with the gun functioning the way it should function. And what I like about this Picatinny rail is you actually have to remove the rear sight. You obviously put a little adapter plate in there that has 2 threaded holes, but there's a third point of contact at the front under the optic. They didn't tell me that. I mean, it didn't have it in the description, which was a little irritating. I do like that third point of contact, but I got it, and it said, if you're competent in drilling and tapping precisely, you can do it yourself, and they give you the specs. Or if you're not, you should take it to a gunsmith. Well, I'm pretty confident in my drilling, but for 50 bucks, I took it to my gunsmith, and if he screwed it up, they'd have to get me a new slide. So I paid 50 bucks to have that third hole. You can't see it's underneath the optic, but drilled, tapped, and then there is a third screw for a point of contact in front. So you got 2 in the back, 1 in the front. So this thing is very rigid, obviously all Loctited down. And then the optic has 2 screws that go into the bracket that comes with the Vortex red dot to allow it to attach to the Picatinny rail. And this little screw, you just unscrew it and it will pop off. So I really like this system. And one good thing about it is you do have on the back, you do have a set of iron sights. If I wanted to take the optic off, I could still use the rail as a set of, very not a fine set of sights. Obviously, you can't move these, so it will give you a general idea of where you're hitting. But yeah, that's kind of cool. I mean, if I took the optic off, I could still use the gun to some degree. But I put probably about 400 or 500 rounds through it. Sighted it in. It is definitely a shooter. I mean, the Berettas are shooters anyway, but I was very interested to see how the red dot works. I mentioned in the previous video that I'm farsighted. I have bifocals, and what's been happening is I can't, if I look through my bifocals to look at the iron sights down range, I can't see the target. It's just all blurry. Or I can look down range above my bifocals. I can see the target clear, but I can't see both. But for whatever reason, I can see a red dot very clearly and the target very clearly. So I have been switching all of my pistols that I target practice with and stuff over to red dots, and it's been great. My only issue that I ran into, and I gotta warn you, I bought the Vortex Venom because it has the top opening for the battery. The Vortex, this is the Venom, then they have the Viper. The Viper has a battery a compartment underneath. So basically you have to break loose your Loctite, take the optic off, change the battery, put it back on, re-Loctite it, and possibly have to re-sight the whole gun in again. So I like the top mounted, but when I was shooting this at my range, I took the 17 that I have with the same optic on it, and I was shooting it, and I've been making a mental note. The optic comes with a screwdriver that has a broad blade, it's a flathead that you can use for the battery compartment, and then it has a finer edge that you can use for sighting it in. And I've been made a mental note to constantly, after so many rounds, to check the battery compartment lid to make sure that it hadn't worked loose. Well, I was shooting with my father, kind of forgot about that, and halfway through a round, I saw something pop up, and the entire cover and the battery popped right out. And then I spent the next 30 minutes trying to find the battery cover and the battery on my range. So just a word of warning, if you go with this sight, carry some type of screwdriver or whatever in your pocket, and every couple rounds of shooting, check that cover and make sure that it's still secure, because it will work its way off through the, that slide coming back, just the amount of force that's applied to it. So I definitely would recommend this rail. Like I said, I can't give you a brand name, but if you go to Optics Planet, I bought it as a package. I bought the optic, which was pretty cheap, and the rail was like $90. But given the quality of it and how well it's milled, it fits perfectly. You don't have to do any modifications to it. I mean, it's literally all I had to do was take it to the gunsmith, have them drill the third hole, and it's fit really well. Again, I was really concerned that the decocker wasn't going to work properly, but it works. The gun fully functions as it did before, but just now it has a red dot on it. So that's basically all I have to say about it. Just a great optic for the price. I think I paid $220 for it. And then, like I said, the rail was $90. But you have the added benefit of being able to take the optic off and on really easy with just the one screw, and the bracket for the rail, Picatinny rail, comes with the sight, so you don't have to buy it secondarily. So yeah, that's my story. If you do have a Baretta or are looking to kind of modernize it, add a red dot to it, that is a good option, and I definitely would recommend the Picatinny rail from Optic Planet. Again, I can't tell you the name of it because I looked and I couldn't find a name, but they make this Picatinny rail for many different models of pistols. So yeah, that's it, and I'll catch you later. Bye.